today we're going to take notes on and answer the question, what is volume? I want you to pause the video, take a minute, and write down what you think volume is first. Okay, so let's take notes on what volume actually is, and let's compare it to what your guess was. So I know volume is the space inside of a three-dimensional figure. Well, let's talk about what a three-dimensional figure is. A three-dimensional figure is something that has, like the cube that I use, often up here on the front table, it has a length, it has a width, and then it also has a height. So it has three different dimensions. It's not flat, but it has height to it. So I could draw a quick picture of a rectangular prism. So I know a three-dimensional figure has a length, it has a width, but it also has a height. So there's space inside. So I know volume is what can fit inside of that. So this is volume. So if we want to look at the same thing, not with a rectangular prism, but if I'm talking about a drinking glass, so something that you fill with water, that's volume. How much can fit inside? When we're talking about water or liquid, we talk about that as capacity, but volume is generally what it can fill inside. So let's talk about how we measure that. I also know a unit cube. We're going to use that word or those two words quite often. So let's spend some time talking about what a unit cube is. A unit cube has a side length of 1 unit. We talked about unit fractions. The numerator of a unit fraction was 1. This was a unit fraction. So a unit cube has a side length of 1. We're going to use these little blue cubes that we use sometimes when we're talking about place value. So this is 1, this has a side of 1 unit cube. So since I don't have colors here, my pen does happen to be that color, but I'm going to write down those blue cubes that we use. The side length is 1 unit. Or let's say we might use these to fill up space too and talk about them, these snap cubes. We're going to use these for an activity on our math contract this week. So a unit cube has a length of 1 unit long. So let's label this one a snap cube. So these are all worth 1 unit. So I didn't take a ruler and I measured them. I'm just using them that they are 1 unit. Okay, so if one side is equal to a length of 1 unit, I'll cross that off here. So from that, I can say that I know, a unit cube has a volume of 1 cubic unit. So what does that mean? So inside of this blue cube that I have here, it also has a volume of 1 cubic unit. Each side length is 1. I could say this has a volume of 1 cubic unit. My snap cube here has the same thing. These represent my holes in my snap cube, trying to make them match my snap cube. So the volume of what can fit inside of that, so the volume of this snap cube is 1 cubic unit. So that's great that I know this side length is 1. I also know that it has a volume of 1. Well, how do we use these? Let's talk about that. So I know, let's look at what else we know. I know I can count all the unit cubes to find the volume. So this, I'm going to go back to this blue cube that we use sometimes when we're talking about place value. This one happens to not be solid because I think it's easier for them to make it and it's not so heavy. But if I were to put all these cubes and I were to fill this entire box up, I could find the volume by counting these cubes. So I also have a toothpick box over here. I could take these blue squares, cubes, these blue, each one represents 1 unit. I could fill this box up. I could stack them side by side and fill them all up until my box was completely full, and I would be able to tell the volume of this box because I have filled it up. So what I would do is fill a cube, or maybe a rectangular prism. That's what we would call this. A rectangular prism. It has a length, a width, and a height, and they are all at 90-degree angles. So fill a cube or rectangular prism with unit cubes that are all equal to 1. Count the unit cubes. Find your volume. Lastly, I know volume has units that are cubic units. This is how we write our measurement. Whenever we have some type of problem with measurement, we have to write if they're inches or feet or what they are. So we're going to use cubic units or units cubed. So the way that I would write this, if I took my toothpick box, I started off with 6 here. I would say 7. I'm going to roughly kind of make a guess about how many. So I might have 35 too. I'm going to say this box, there are 70 cubic units. So my toothpick box, if I were to fill it completely up with these blue unit cubes, I would write that as the volume is equal to 70 cubic units. Cubic, because it is a cube, it has 3 dimensions, and units, or I could rewrite that as units with a 3 in the exponent's place because it has 3 dimensions, 3 cubic units. So I find volume by filling something up, and I can simply put cubic units. We commonly in this classroom are going to use snap cubes, or we can use these blue unit cubes as well. And we fill them up, and that's how we find volume.